Well, I have 12:15, so good noontime and welcome to Rotary,
Welcome.
everyone. Thanks so much for being here. We have a wonderful program for you today. And Jan, as our Sergeant at Arms, would you be so kind as to bring us to order, please?
Indeed. Let's pray. Gracious Lord, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for giving us the privilege of serving this community as Rotarians and as citizens. And we give you thanks for the privilege of an election coming up. Guide us in the election of officials and representatives so that by faithful administration and wise laws, the rights of all may be protected and we may be enabled to fulfill your purposes. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thanks so much. And Dawn, would you like to lead us in pledge today?
I most certainly will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks so much. And Pep, would you like to resume your responsibilities of leading us in song?
Sure, darling. Are you ready? R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is known on land and sea. From north to south, from east to west, one prophet's must who serve the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary.
Thanks so much for that. We're glad that you're back with us. Aha.
Yay!
And let's see here. I don't think we have any visiting Rotarians today. We have several guests. Some of them are speaking, and we'll get to them momentarily. One of our returning guests is with Danny. Danny, would you like to introduce your guest to us?
Sure, I want to introduce my wife, Tony Pena.
Thanks so much for being here, Tony. We look forward to spending the lunchtime with you. And Jan will have a guest soon, but he's not here yet. Okie dokie. We don't have any birthdays this week. We don't have any wedding anniversaries this week. And we don't have any Rotary anniversaries this week. So everyone's going to have to get their own ice cream. We do have a couple of announcements. Let's start with our Happy Dollar announcements. And I know at least two of our friends have some Happy Dollar announcements. So who wants to go first?
Okay, Justin, I'll go first.
What you got?
I was froze for a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Yes, I had the privilege of walking my daughter down the aisle this weekend. She was married, Catholic wedding, beautiful church, awesome. Everything was so wonderful. We're so blessed. They're very, very happy.
Congratulations, Danny. And Pep, I know you have some happy news. Would you like to share?
Well, sure. I am back in Kingsville. I think I'm going to make my home here since I drive an RV. I can be where I want to be. Hallelujah. But because I've come back, this is my 25th year being in Kingsville and at the church. And so I think on the 24th of this month, they're going to have a drive-by or some kind of appreciation. And so they wanted to surprise me, but they needed to know if I was going to be here or have the time and all. So it's going to be 6 o'clock. So some of you may hear from some of the people because they say, when I was writing down everybody that I know, I said, oh my God, I know a lot of people. I'm involved with a lot of things. And so, y'all, when it come about retirement, I am not the one. I will resume another something because I'm not going to sit home unless I have to. And if I have to, y'all better come and see me. God bless. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Pep. We're happy that you're staying around. Do we have
Thank
any
you.
more happy dollar announcements today? Okie dokie. Our foundation update. October 24 is World Polio Day, and we will be celebrating in a couple of ways. On that Saturday in the afternoon, we will have our Rotary Polio Moto motorcycle ride coming through Kingsville, and we will be at
Say it again.
the Rotary Polio Moto RPM 2020 will be meeting at the Clayburgh County Courthouse for polio awareness. More information coming up on that next week, and that rounds out our foundation update. We have some recent COVID meals. Let's see, Allison, would you like to update us on the COVID meal program?
Sure. We had about $50 remaining from donations when we did lunch. Lunch costs a little over $200. We had donations in excess of that. And so Crystal went ahead and provided a breakfast, which costs almost $40 over the weekend. And so if anybody wants to donate when you get on Square, you can. And as we get funds, we will provide meals to those who are doing the COVID testing here for us. The Texas, tell me, Justin, who it is that does it.
The Texas Military Department.
Okay, so that's the update.
Thanks so much for that, Allison. Don't forget, we have resumed in-person hybrid meetings. We will be doing those monthly on the last Tuesdays. Our next one is coming up on October 27. We have a limited menu, same price. You can pay there or you can be invoiced. And we will be socially distancing 4 to the large tables and 2 to the small tables. And also, don't forget that December is when we start working on our next Rotary Year's Board of Directors. We like to be at least 6 months ahead of the curve, and so be thinking about what you want your next year's Board of Directors to look like. We have a second public reading of a new prospective member, Christine Hoskinson. She is the Assistant Director of Veterinary Technology at the university, and she was proposed by me. And if this helps to persuade you, she has already participated in one of our service projects last week during an emergency food distribution event from the Coastal Bend Food Bank. And so her heart is in the right place. We have new member orientation coming up soon. More information on that. And now on to our featured program of the week. We have candidates for an upcoming election. Jay Dean, would you like to tell us more about that?
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Justin. So today's early voting, and I used to be one of those people that would wait until election Tuesday because it was so dramatic. And I'm telling you right now, early voting is the way to go. I mean, the only difference between early voting and waiting till the day of is it's easier, it's more convenient, and you can get out of there on time. So if you haven't already voted by mail, certainly do so today or for the next couple weeks. Also, I'm glad to announce, and I'm happy that they've shown up and they're ready to speak to you, are some candidates from the Republican slate. And I'll tell you, the candidates, you couldn't have spent your time more wisely. The Rotary Club of Kingsville is 100% voters. Everybody's completely invested in our community. And so you couldn't have gotten more bang for your buck today unless you visited, I guess, the Lions. But we're happy to have you, and we got you now. So let's start with our ballot races. As Justin said, we'll have you speak for a little while, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, what you stand for. And then as we go through, if you have any questions, submit those in your chat box to Justin J. Jones, our president, and he'll mediate those questions. And so with that, our U.S. Congress for the 34th District Slate candidate is Dr. Ray Gonzalez. And we are very pleased to have him. I know he's probably en route to go from one location to another as he does. Dr. Ray, take it away, please.
Thank you so much. You'll be happy to know that I am not driving. I have pulled over to participate in this. It's just so important for me to take time out of my day on this very busy, important election day to reach out to folks in my district there in Kingsville. Such an important center part of the district. The 34th Congressional District runs from Brownsville in the south all the way to Gonzales County in the north. 11 counties. Kingsville is right dab in the middle. And it marks a real important place, not just geographically, but politically as well, because every point north of Kingsville is pretty much conservative. We can count on that area to vote red. They have voted their values for a long time and tend to adopt a very conservative view of how our country should be run. Every point south of Kingsville is pretty much Democrat controlled, and it has been for a long time. And the reason I've decided to run is because I'm just tired of the direction that our country is going and the kind of representation, quote unquote representation, that we've had in Washington. Our congressman is Philemon Vela. He's from Brownsville. He knows that the majority of the votes in the district come from the city of Brownsville, not even Cameron County, but just the city of Brownsville. And it's for that reason that he does all the little campaigning that he does in Brownsville. The little time he spends in the district, he spends it in Brownsville. And so the rest of the district gets ignored. And so I hear that when I visit Kingsville, Jim Wells County, up in Cuero, DeWitt County. We don't even know what our congressman looks like. I want to bring a different idea about what the congressman should do. I am pro-life, pro-God, pro-gun, pro-Texas. You can count on me to be accessible as your congressman. You can count on me to bring town hall meetings on a regular basis throughout the district. I've told people that, I've pledged to serve only 6 years, a maximum of 6 years. Even if you beg me to stay longer, I won't. I believe in term limits. And so I have self-imposed term limits. And one of the things that I expect will be said about me, even by those opponents of mine at the end of my 6-year term, is that even if we didn't like Gonzalez because he was so conservative, he was such a classical Republican, a Christian Republican, even those that would say that, I want them to be able to say, but one thing I did like about him is that he was very accessible and he spoiled us because he was constantly in the district. Wouldn't you like your congressman to always be around, to show his face, not just during election time? And so I ask for your vote there in Kingsville, for your enthusiasm and to go out there. Don't vote alone. Remember to vote all the way down the ballot. There's great people on the ballot that need to support that need our support. A lot of the folks our president our help. He's going to need the help of the people in the Senate and the House, and then also in the state level. And he comes all the way down from the White House to the county to the city house, city hall. So anyway, I really appreciate this opportunity. I know other candidates want to speak, but that's what you can count on with Ray Gonzalez as your next congressman, 34th Congressional District.
Dr. Ray, thank you very much. Justin, I wasn't sure if we had any questions for Dr. Ray. I know he's got a lot of territory to cover.
We don't yet, but we look forward to those coming in soon. And Ray, we will let you know as soon as we have a question directed your way.
Okay, I'll
Dr.
start a few more minutes.
Okay, absolutely. And we understand if you need to take leave, we appreciate you coming very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
On our next, on the ballot, you'll see the 13th Court of Appeals for here in Texas. And running for that race is our Jaime T. Arena. And Justice, if you will unmute yourself, I will let you take it away.
Unmute. There we go. Hey, thank you for having me here today, first of all. And thank you, Rotarians, for the service that you have committed to in your communities. We, all over South Texas and Texas in this country, I think the people really appreciate the charitable work that the Rotarians do. And down here, of course, where I'm from Hidalgo County, we always support, when we can, the functions of the Rotary here in the Valley. They really put on a good party down here in Mission and in McAllen and Edinburgh. We never miss a crawfish boil. They're always a lot of fun. But to kind of expand on what Dr. Ray was saying is a lot of important elections down the ballot. I know a lot of people are really concerned about the presidency and other elections, but there's a lot of candidates down ballot. And I think one of the issues that judges have, and I know you're a smaller community in Clayburgh, but when we get to Hidalgo and Cameron and Nueces, people don't know the judges. And when you talk about Court of Appeals judges even more. So that's one of the reasons I always like to do these things, because when you do go and vote, and I do encourage everyone to early vote, you'll know who I am. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll tell you about the court and why it's so important. But just so you know who I am, I'm a 25-year lawyer, and I was an elected county prosecutor in your neck of the woods. I was in Kennedy County for 12 years. I own a ranch on the south side of the county and committed my life for about 12 years to serving as the county attorney there. I moved back to Hidalgo County, where I was raised, and took a position as a district court judge that was I was appointed by Governor Perry at the time, and then since then I've been appointed to 2 separate district courts, and of course now the 13th Court of Appeals. So I am on the 13th Court of Appeals. We have a bigger district than that of Dr. Ray's. We go from Hidalgo County to Cameron County, all the way to Matagorda, and then across the top we go to Live Oak. About 2 million people in our district, but half of those people come from Hidalgo County. So the northern counties have always been subject to the will of the people from the Rio Grande Valley. Most of the judges get elected either from the Valley or from Corpus Christi, and really most of them are from the Valley. And that's why it's important for the people in the north to vote. There's a disparity in party allegiance, north of Clayburgh County and then south. And even though there's the largest number of people in Hidalgo County, the north votes Republican. Of course, I'm a Republican, so I count on the northern counties. And so we oversee all of the appeals from every district court and every county court in those 20 courts. So it's very important, because 95% of the cases that get appealed end at the 13th Court of Appeals. Only about 5% of the cases that are appealed make it to the Court of Criminal Appeals or the Supreme Court. So it's real important that you know who your judges are on the Court of Appeals, and you know a little bit about them. I'm here to ask for your support, to ask for your vote. I'm good friends with your district attorney there in Clayburgh County, because we spent a lot of time in the military together. I did 31 years in the Army Reserve, did about 5 years of active service, and did a tour of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. And in January of this year, the Army told me that I was too old, excuse me, and they made me retire. There's an old saying that you love the Army, but the Army doesn't love you. And I think that's always true. But early voting starts today. I'd really love your vote. Clayburgh County I know is a swing county. People vote either way, but I'm a conservative, and I don't apologize about that. I don't make the law. I only interpret it as it's written. I'll never legislate from the bench. And I think that when you look at my record, you can say that that's the guy that I trust. So thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. And like I said before, probably going to get off about 10 minutes because we actually are working today. We got 4 cases, oral arguments that start at 1 o'clock, and I got to go get my robe and put it on and start working today. So, and then I got to go to the polls. So it's going to be a busy day. But thank you for having me.
Thank you for showing up, Justice. Justin, any questions for Justice Tijerina?
We don't yet, but I look forward to those coming in soon. And if we have those, Jaime, we will certainly let you know before 5 minutes till.
Thank you.
And Justice, we understand, or at least I understand that I might have 2 pages worth of report or file to read. You have hundreds of pages to prep for. So if you need to leave at any time, please do so. And thank you for coming.
I read all the cases over the last week to make sure I was up to speed. A lot of documents.
No doubt, no doubt. Me and John are sorry for sending those to you. With that, let me shoot over to our sheriff race. Our incumbent sheriff, Richard Kirkpatrick, is joining us. And if I gave him enough time to unmute his speaker, and I did, Sheriff, good afternoon, and take it away.
How are you guys doing today? Gosh, you know, it's been, I know a lot of you guys in Rotary have known most of you for a very, very long time. And thank you again for having me. I know that I kind of reiterate some of the things that Jaime had mentioned about, you know, the quality of the work that is done on behalf of Rotary and that they do for the community. And so I'm very, very happy about that, what you guys do and how you support the community. Frankly, you know, this is, I'm glad that, you know, it's kind of funny because when I look back at kind of things that have gone on, that, you know, you realize that 4 years is really comes and goes, and that time goes very fast. I can tell you that it's been amazing 4 years, and my work here as a sheriff is just kind of beginning. I know that we have a lot to accomplish together, and I look forward to the opportunity to continue to serve as your sheriff. Again, as many as you know, I'm a lifelong resident of Clayburgh County, and I am a graduate of H.M. King High. Again, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, I've been very active in the community for a very long time. Those of you who have known me have kind of watched me grow up from a young man all the way to becoming the sheriff of the county, and I think that's a great accomplishment. That being said, I'm a former Eagle Scout, and I have you know, I have done some undergraduate work there at Texas A&M University. That being said, you know, I believe that I've remained focused on, while being at the sheriff's office, I believe I've remained focused on, you know, a lot of cost savings initiatives throughout our department, and all the while continuing to serve the citizens of this county with honor and integrity as I have done so over the last 4 years. I'm a major supporter of the local boxing club. That group has a tremendous program for outreach juveniles where they initiate a boot camp program for those individuals. I know, J. Dean, you've got some buy-in to that. You know, we've always got a problem with some of our local kids that just need a new direction. And I believe that that boxing club is a good place and a good starter for them. And really it gives them an opportunity to reevaluate things and get them on a right track. And so I couldn't be prouder to support an organization of that nature. Again, I know that I've consistently demonstrated financial responsibility and have been a good steward of your tax dollars. I'm proud to announce that I guess about a week or two ago, when we transitioned into the end of our fiscal year, just so everyone knows, the Clayburgh County Jail, you know, I don't know if you're aware of this, but that's a very large organization. It operates over about $2 million. And I want you to know that at the end of this year, we returned approximately $270,000 of your money that went back to the county. I think that's a great pat on the back. I believe that that's an opportunity that really is able to show that we have been a good steward of your tax dollars. Going forward, you know, I know that we have always looked to find alternative sources such as grants for equipment and projects to avoid this taxpayer burden. I mean, it's always a difficult thing when you juggle what it costs to run an agency against what it really costs. And a lot of people really don't have any idea that one of the, the sheriff's department and the jail comprise the most of the budget for the county. They are the absolute largest. We have, I know that we have purchased a little over $1.3 million in much needed equipment for the jail. That comes at no cost to our local taxpayers, not one penny. We came up with some ingenious ideas there to save that money and essentially obtain that equipment without making it cost our taxpayers a cent. Again, that was I think that was a lot of work that went into that, and I'm quite proud of it. I know that on the flip side of things, on the sheriff's office, we've secured about $6.4 million in grant funding. That again is a win-win, because we're able to do that kind of stuff, and we're able to get the things that we need and be able to share some of that funding with our local task force, our police department, and those kinds of people. So we've been able to share the wealth amongst the community, and I'm quite proud of that. I know that we've established a school resource officer program locally here. This is the first of that's been done in quite some time. I know in years past, the Kingsville PD had such a program that was funded by grants. We've gone the opposite direction of that. The school has graciously funded some of these positions, and frankly, the county has been able to pick up one of the positions. So, I believe that is a win-win for us, because again, you never know what's going to happen in our schools, and it's always an issue of not knowing what's going to happen, when we always have to be out there looking out for our kids' safety and our teachers, because there again, I know in years past, there's always been problems within the Kingsville Independent School District and that sort of thing. So with regards to our county schools, those are different avenues, but rest assured that our local constable and our other members out there in the community have been able to help us with some of the issues that are outlying areas that traditionally may or may not necessarily need a school resource officer. So again, I'm quite proud of that. Moving on, I know that we've created a internship program with Texas A&M University in our bachelor's and master's degree programs in criminology and sociology and anthropology. And I think that's a win-win for us, because we have never, that was never thought of before. And we were able to team up with the university, bring those students in, and give them a hand-to-hand, hands-on approach to teaming up with our investigations unit and being able to go out to these crime scenes and having hands-on approaches to some of the things that they would be experiencing that they just can't get in a classroom. I know that we created our department's first, I believe it's a 126-acre training center, a shooting range. That also included a obstacle course, rappelling tower, had indoor classrooms. All of that came at no cost to our taxpayer. That was fully funded by asset forfeiture. And again, I think it's a good thing for us, because we frankly didn't even have it in the past, and it was never something that was ever thought of. And again, that was when we start looking forward to some of the new developments that we're talking about with the EOC and training unit, our training center that's also a first of its kind. That is an economic stimulus for Kingsville and Claiborne County. And I'm proud to be a part of that project, and I can't wait to see it get off the ground. I know that I'll move on, and then I'll let someone else join the conversation, but I'd like to sum it up by saying, look, I strive myself to conduct all that I do with integrity, civility, honesty, and with Christian values. And this is what you should expect, and that's what you deserve, and that's exactly what you're going to get from me. So thank you again, and I humbly ask for your support and your vote.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any questions let me also say Justice Tijarina as well as Sheriff Kirkpatrick while we have them here, Justin.
We do have a question regarding grants coming in for any Baffin residents for pier rebuilds, if anybody has some information on that.
Now, I can chime in on that, and I do know that there was a grant called the Go Mesa grant, And the county was able to successfully attain that grant. I believe that was done with the judge, the county judge, Rudy Madrid. And that grant has paid for quite a few upgrades out there at the Coffer Park to include the boat ramps. In fact, as you may or may not know, if those of you who go out there, you might notice a really tall structure out there. It's a really tall tower. That tower was put in by me. It includes a camera system of a first of its kind to watch the parking lots and all that kind of stuff, because there's always thefts going on, things that always happen when our deputies are maybe out there patrolling it. But ultimately, at some point, you know, you just can't be everywhere. And so this adds to that layer of security, and we're happy to have it there.
Any other questions at this point, Justin?
That's all that we have for now. If more come in, we will certainly let you know. Thanks so much.
Excellent. And Your Honor, Tijerina, as well as Sheriff, y'all are welcome to stay as long as you like. I'm sure we'll get some questions, but if you do have to go, we understand you're busy, and thank you for coming as well. With that, let's go further down. I probably should have introduced him a little bit further on the ballot, but I can tell he was eating lunch because he's got court, I know, firsthand here in a little bit. That is our incumbent district attorney for Clayburgh and Kennedy counties. That's John Hubert. And I believe John is still running unopposed, but we'll let him talk about that. Take it away, John.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting us. Let us get out some key points that are important to us and hopefully important to everyone else. As Jadine said, I'm unopposed, so that's great. But I'd like to give kind of, oh yes, it's a great thing. But I'd like to get out some of the status of our office and what's going on. Right now in the nation, we're seeing concern over law enforcement, treatment of law enforcement of the laws, et cetera. We're not seeing much of an impact to that here. A lot of that is because law enforcement here has been very proactive in addressing those issues. As soon as body cams became available, we have helped fund the local law enforcement, PD, sheriff, task force, have been very aggressive at getting body cams out there. That helps. Training, there is something called cognitive bias. Prosecutors across the state, after the Morton Act came into effect, we started taking, actually before the Morton Act even started to take effect, for those people who don't know, it's an upgraded discovery for the defense attorneys. Before that even took effect, we started taking a close look at wrongful convictions and convictions that had been done on a minimal of evidence. And what we discovered is we always try to do the right thing, but unconsciously sometimes we look at facts and we disregard facts that don't agree with our preconceived notions. Well, we got to keep our mind open to all the facts at all the time. And so we did a little research, and cognitive bias basically came up, and cognitive bias training. And that basically tells us to keep a mind open to all the facts and consider all the facts at all the time. I think it's helped us. It was painful getting there, but doing the training has really helped us as a profession explain to the public why we do what we do, and it's helped us get better as a profession. COVID, of course, has hit, and it's caused a lot of changes. So we haven't been able to have a trial because we can't impanel a jury. Austin tried the first grand jury or first jury for a speeding ticket, and they had all sorts of issues, and that was about a month ago. Galveston, I believe a couple of days ago, finished, if not the first, one of the first jury trials in the state of Texas, and they used one of the major league sports stadiums to pick the jury. A lot of masks, as you can imagine, and things like that going on. And according to the husband of one of the prosecutors, I talked to him, and he said his wife, she said that was the most miserable experience of her entire life. So I take that to be it's necessary, but we're trying to work around that issue. With that being said, we're still having grand juries. We're still moving the process along, still trying to, if we have a plea agreement that's going to be made, we're still going to try to get that done. So we still need grand juries. We still need to evaluate cases, still need to process things. And to that extent, we, for jury selection, this next grand jury, we've been working with the Sheriff's Department, with the Texas A&M University, Kingsville. Dr. Hussey has been just a godsend. And he's allowing us to use the auditorium, Jones Auditorium, and working with, of course, the district court. The district court is always in charge of this. And but Dr. Hussey is making it available. He's making parking lots available. He's making his security available. So again, if you see Dr. Hussey, please tell him thank you very much. He's part of the solution, not part of the problem. And we're going to call in a jury panel or two, actually, and we're going to try to do it safely, where we can get grand jurors selected for the next grand jury. Modernization, we have kind of a slow time right now. We have a little less cases, but we still have a decent amount of cases coming in. We just can't finalize some of the cases because we can't go to trial. And we need the ability to go to trial to actually move a lot of these cases. Sometimes they plea out right at trial. Sometimes they do other things, but the ability to go to trial really pushes our docket. So we're a little bit slower in that respect, that we haven't had trials. So what we're doing is we're using that downtime to modernize our case management system. We've invested money in that. That'll help discovery for defense counsel to make sure that they can get the discovery as fast as possible. They don't have to come to our office. We don't have to send it through the mail. We don't have to use an email service. It's actually a better, it's where law enforcement can write the report and they can do drag and drop their report into the system, and then it's immediately available to defense counsel. So I like that. It also shows that defense counsel has that many attorneys, and of course that's the 200,000. It will be the next year 220, but it's 180. I think this year 185. To do that and hire 4 attorneys, basically what we've had to do is hustle for grants, and we use asset forfeiture. Asset forfeiture is a different issue that I can give a whole class over, and why it's necessary and the good that it can do as long as it's used appropriately. But to that respect, we've been managed to keep the cost of the local taxpayer down. For the first time ever, we've gotten an investigator. We haven't had an investigator, not the first time ever, the first time since I think 1980 something, 82 maybe, when Adon Munoz was an investigator. We have an investigator now, and that helps us clear up issues in the case and things, and helps law enforcement free up their investigators and their CID and their detectives to do other things. Also, for the first time ever, we finally got about 4 years ago, we got a victim assistance. Before then, we had to share one with the county attorney, and that's fine, but it was just a lot to do. And I'm sure none of y'all have ever heard of something called unfunded mandates. The legislature likes to make rules that we have to comply with, but doesn't give us any money to do it. So we try to go out and hustle for those grants and use the asset forfeiture responsibly. With that being said, we're still moving our docket. We're still indicting cases. We're still hopefully helping law enforcement. I've got a commissioner's court meeting, I believe at 1:30. We have several things on the docket, and that's sending officers from the task force, I believe, task force or PD, to training for the Kingsville Police Department. We have some of the best law enforcement in the country, but training is perishable. A lot of the skills are perishable. So what we're doing is we're spending some of that asset forfeiture money to make sure that they get the training they need and some of the equipment they need that would otherwise come out of the local taxpayers' pocket. And I think that helps not only law enforcement, but it also helps us, because sometimes cases don't need to go forward. And you don't know that unless you have all the facts. And when we have all the facts, we can make a better decision whether prosecution is the right answer or not. With that being said, that's the state of the office now. I've also got a hearing at 1:45. It's over a expungement issue, but other than that, does anybody have any questions for me?
Justin, did you have any questions for either of the remaining two candidates, Richard Kirkpatrick or John Hubert?
I have not seen any, but John, thanks so much for your time and for joining us today. And Richard's still with us. Thank you. And I think Jaime and Ray had to take off, but thank you to all of our candidates for sharing your time with us today. We do have a few things upcoming on the calendar. More information on the website and in your bulletin on all of our fun activities. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Does anybody else have anything for the good of Rotary today? Okie dokie. With
I think I can.
this.
Yes, my daughter got a permit today, so please watch out on the road, please. Yes, I've threatened to be like a tugboat and just tie tires all around the car just to make sure. But you know, she's not that tall, so if you see the top of this blonde head driving down the street, that's her.
Well, John, thank you for the public service announcement. It's a good thing we're working remotely lately. It's time to go to our weekly Paul Harris drawings. Let's take a look at our leaderboard. We had a full slate this week, and so with a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pair 1, congratulations to Danny and Ashley. Remember, next week is a new week and your new opportunity to join the leaderboard. And if you will now, please join me in a four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thanks so much. Have a wonderful afternoon.
And Justin, if that finished our recording, if I had two questions that I didn't see that were sent to me.
It can finish our recording.